Hey there. Hope I don't have any stuff in the corner of my mouth. Welcome back to the Steph and Cal channel. And I hope this is recording because I cannot see what I am doing. For I am blind. But nevertheless, welcome back to the Steph and Cal channel. I am your host, Steph. My name is Stephanie, but everybody calls me Steph. And so you can feel free to call me Steph as well. Anyway, how y'all doing? How y'all doing on this wonderful day or evening or night or whatever your time zone is? I am just so elated. Do people still use that word? Elated, delighted, excited to just share a message with you. To give okay, let me start off. I am the person um, the of this channel that does the recording. You know, you hear that voice in the background while Cal is, doing what he do, and I'm the one that's talking and asking questions and laughing all the time. That's me. So now you know who I am. Hi. But anyway, I wanted to. Well, I really hope this is recording, but I wanted to do a video, with just me and just tell you a little bit about my life. Um, just give you a little snippet. As you know, I am visually impaired. I have what's called retinitis pigmentosa, and that is an eye condition that causes slow degeneration to my sight. It has slowly uh, what's the word? It slowly eliminated my peripheral. So I have no peripheral vision. I have like no top, side, bottom. Like it's just dead center. And in this eye here, I have nothing. But in my left eye, it's like looking through. I don't know if you ever had like a needle and some thread, and you know how you have to really squint to try to get that little thread through that needle or whatever. That opening, that's this eye. So I'm pretty much blind. but but nevertheless, I am grateful. I am blessed. And my journey up until this point, I'm 53. I will be 54 in September. But as far as my journey with my vision loss, and I just want to say this video is for any and everybody. But I kind of want to speak to the people who are struggling with blindness, who are challenged by blindness, or if you know someone in the family or you're in a relationship with, just want to, just send out a word of encouragement, a good inspirational message. Yeah, so with me, it kind of started when I was 20. And what had happened was that it started to affect my night vision. It started to affect my night vision. So as I got older, the more I was only able like move and function during the day. At nighttime I had to really be careful. You know what I'm saying? And I still got out and did things at night, but I always went to places that I was really familiar with. I didn't just go traveling and going out places that I didn't know nothing about, because then I get lost. I always stayed within the familiar route of a place that I wanted to, go to or whatever. So it throughout the years it slowly declined. And as it began to decline, the more it declined, the more I became what's called in denial. And so I was in denial about it for many years. But the beginning of the denial came is when I was hanging with some friends, and they're drinking, and I wasn't drinking at the time. And they're drinking and everything, and they're having fun. And then I try to move around and seem normal and act normal, but I kept like bumping into people every now and then or tripping over something. So someone said, and she must be drunk. And I wanted to say, no, I'm not drunk. I just can't see well. But then I said, whoa, wait a minute. I don't want to like look out of place, or I don't want people judging me because I can't see. And this is how I felt as a 20-year-old. And so I will hold a bottle of liquor, or I'll take a couple of sips of beer to make it appear that I have been drinking, so that if I did get up and like go to the restroom or go step outside or go to the other part of the of the house or whatever, then people will say, oh, she just been drinking, that's why she drunk, that's why she's tripping over things. But then the thing about it is that the very thing that I pretended to do and pretended to be, I actually became. I pretended to be drunk, and then I turned into being an alcoholic. And so I would hide in that bottle. I would use that bottle, that liquor, to fill the void. Because now, I'm going to tell you something. Faking it to make it don't work. You can do it for a long time, but sooner or later, it will catch up with you and it will bite you. You know what I'm saying? And it's not worth it. It's really not worth it. It's kind of like running from yourself. And when I say that, it really don't make sense. How can you actually run from yourself? And that's what I was doing. So throughout the years, I'm in my 20s, now I'm in my 30s, so I'm like a full-fledged alcoholic now. I've been drinking and drinking and drinking and hanging out with different crowds of people and just being in just like toxic atmospheres. And let me tell you something. Toxic relationships, been there, done that, honey. And I'm going to tell you something. There's nothing cute about trauma bonding. Folks actually get on social media and brag about that. That is hopelessness. That's hopelessness. And so I was in a place where I was hopeless. I was in a place where my sight is steady declining. By this time, I had lost custody of my kids because my drinking had got out of control. And plus, I was feeling and thinking and moving and behaving like, well, I'm going to go completely blind one day. I don't know how I'm going to take care of these kids. I'm stressed out. I'm depressed. I can't do it. And I had to end up letting them go. And then I sunk further and further into toxic relationships. Got hooked up with in a relationship with a guy who would drink just as much as me or even more. So there's the arguing, and there's the fighting, and more arguing, and more fighting. There's nothing healthy or productive about those kind of relationships. And so I would just continue on, and I'm spiraling to 2008 when I was 35 years old. I almost lost my life because the man that I had been in a relationship with, I told him, I want to get clean. I want to be free. I want to be at peace. And you can have this too. I said, I'm ready. I'm ready. I went to church as a little girl. When I got older, I was like, because you know how it is. Sometimes you would think you're only going to church because your mom or your grandma would tell you to, not really knowing the why behind it. And so the realization came to me in 2008 of the why behind it. And it's that I needed to be in a relationship with God. And I told my ex, I said, I need to be in a relationship with God. I said, I'm tired of this. I told him that I had taken I went to the store and I bought a bottle. It was a liter, not a pint, not a fifth, not a half pint, but it was a liter of Bacardi rum, and I downed it. I drank it like it was Kool-Aid, and I felt nothing. I felt numb. And that feeling there, I said, I thought I was going to die. Because I don't know if anyone understand that when you're drinking a huge amount of alcohol, and pretty much I'm not going to say I drank it in one setting, but before that day was over, that whole bottle was gone, and I felt nothing. couldn't hear. I couldn't feel nothing. And I knew right then that I needed help. And so I decided to turn to God, and then I decided to say, I'm tired of running. I'm so tired of running. You know how it is when you watch these shows and you see people commit crimes and they've been a fugitive for quite a while, and then when they finally get caught and they get arrested, there's a wash of relief that comes over them. They don't put up a fight, they don't resist, they just turn around, put their hands behind their back. And that's what I did that day. I said, I'm tired. I'm tired. But the problem with that is that I was trying to help someone that wasn't tired. He wasn't ready to give it up. He wasn't ready to give me up. And I told him, I said, I can't continue to be in this relationship because I'm done. I'm done with the drinking. I'm done with all this other stuff. I'm done with living like I'm lost, because I was. I'm done with living like hopelessness. Jeremiah in the Bible, Jeremiah 29:11 says that God says, I know the plans for you, plans for prosperity and not for chaos, not for harm, for hope and a future. And I said, that's God's promise. And I know God has never failed, even though the circumstances are going on in my life, with my vision and everything. I can still honestly look and see that God has still been good. Despite of what I've been through, he was still preserving me for that moment to accept him into my heart. And I told my ex, I said, I can't do this. I need Jesus. I need God. He didn't accept it. And so not long after that, he decided to attack me and tried to kill me. He stabbed me over and over and over, 12 times to be exact. And he punched me repeatedly in my face. So the vision that I had became much worse from the beating in my eye. And it was just an attack that went on for a good while. And he left me for dead. But in that moment, when I was laying in that pool of blood, and I thank God that he sent someone as I cried out for help, and that person helped me. They called the ambulance and they came and got me. But as I was laying in that pool of blood, I told God, I prayed, I said, this is not looking good, but if I gotta die, I'll die. But I told God, I said, I don't want to die and go to hell. I want to go to heaven. I don't want to die and go to hell. God saved me. God saved me. And I just want to encourage someone out there. Everybody's challenges are different. Nevertheless, they are challenges. But with challenges come choices. Come choices. And this is not a message to beat up on anyone or to judge anyone, because I'm not here for that. I could care less where you've been. I care more about where you're going. Because in this life and the life to come, there are two destinations, and that is heaven and hell. And whether a person, or you want to believe this or not, it's coming. It is coming. And so God is being so gracious and patient with us all. He cannot touch our will. So when you hear someone say, well, why God allowing this and allowing that? It's because he can't touch our will. He wants the choice to be totally up to us. And so when you choose Jesus, the Bible says, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that whoever believes, that's a choice. Believing is a choice. Whoever believes in him will not perish, but have everlasting life. For God did not send his son into the world to judge the world, but that through him the world may be saved. So this is a time of choosing. This is a season of choosing, because the Bible also says that no one is promised tomorrow. And that's my doorbell. And that's my homemade coming. But I just pray that this message encouraged someone. I might do a part 2 to my story. And so, yeah, have a good day. Hey, hey there. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to. Uh-oh. Huh? You just got back? No, I've been back. I'm trying to figure out how to cut this thing off without cutting off the video. Jesus. I've been trying to re-record. I know I'm probably still on. Hey, everybody. Let's see. Maybe if I turn on voiceover.